Kenny Chapman from Blue Collar. Welcome to Behind the Windshield with Dennis the Apprentice.
Oh, dude, thank you so much. It's absolutely an honor to be here.
This is so cool.
It is. It really is.
20 years, 22 years?
That I've been in the game?
That I've known you.
That we've known each other, something like that.
Florida. I met you in Florida.
Okay.
At a Nextar training.
Yeah.
And you taught me the one-man shop exercise.
Oh, man.
And you blew my mind.
That is taking it way back, isn't it?
It is.
Nice.
It is.
Lots changed since then, my friend.
Totally.
Yeah.
So you're on vacation?
Yeah, I kind of call my life a vacation, but we're living on the road at the moment, so that feels good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about what you're up to. What's Blue Collar?
So Blue Collar Success Group, we improve businesses and we help them grow, and we really it's a life thing. Like, we improve people's lives by improving their careers, from owners and entrepreneurs down through the training of frontline team and all that type of stuff in the trades, only in the trades.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And you do.
Oh, good.
Improved our lives for sure.
Good, man. Thanks.
Absolutely.
That's great to hear.
Cool.
That's wonderful.
Well, as Dennis the Apprentice, I am focusing on helping the apprentices. A lot of people say get into the trades.
Mm-hmm.
And so some people get into trades intentionally, but a lot of young people get into the trade because they didn't go to college, they didn't like school, and they went and got a job at some plumbing company.
Yep.
So little do they know that they just possibly pulled a lottery ticket.
Oh,
right?
100%.
So my goal is to help young people realize the potential and make the most of their apprenticeship. Because the apprenticeship only lasts so long, right? There's such demand.
Yes.
That once you know what you're doing, you're off to the races.
Yes.
So how do we, that's kind of the talking point, is how do we help apprentices get the most out of their apprenticeship?
One of the things I would encourage wherever our listeners are in their journey of the apprenticeship, or thinking about it, or just getting into it, is to realize from the mindset perspective that it may not look like the sexiest thing. It may not be like what a lot of your friends are doing or what family thought you might want to do, but you just mentioned the lottery ticket concept. And I would say not only did you get a lottery ticket, you got the winning lottery ticket. And now the cool thing is you literally, as you scratch off the lottery ticket, normally I don't do scratchers, but I would assume that it, like they used to be, you scratch it off and there's the number, there's your reward, there's what you win. And the cool thing about apprenticeship is you're scratching off, but you get to decide what's behind on the lottery ticket.
I love it.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So as how you operate as an apprentice determines what the worth of your lottery ticket can be.
Love it. Absolutely. Tell me more about that. How would it be more?
Well, so depending on how committed you are, we look for commitment. We want to have the skill. We want to know what to do. We want to get on our own. We know it already better than our lead person a lot of time as the apprentice, because none of us like to be told what to do. It's kind of human nature, right? Mm-hmm. And so the way that you change your number on your lottery ticket is by really acknowledging what's your level of commitment and what are you willing to go through and stick to your plan when it is difficult and it's not fun and you're tired and you're worn out and you're dirty and all those different types of things. Those are the determining factors. If you give up or you quit or you half-ass it, if you will, or kind of dog a little bit. Sorry, I'm probably not supposed to say that on here.
Well, I think we're all blue collar.
So that's
I don't think anybody's going to be offended.
That's fair too. But yeah, I think how you apply yourself, application is key.
Yeah, very cool. So a lot of these kids, they're used to getting C's or B's or a few A's in school.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do we get an A in apprenticeship?
Boy, I would say number one, the gift is that you got, I'll say C's and D's in schools is actually a benefit. And I say that as barely a C student when I got out of school. And I think that realizing that book smarts and application of skill. And so, we live in a society that has has minimized the value of the trades a little bit. And I'm not saying that from a victim standpoint. I'm saying that from a perspective of reality. And I came from a place, you came from a place. If you don't get the specific degree, then you're only going to go so far in life. And that's completely shifted. And right now is honestly better than ever to be in the blue collar space, because we literally hold the keys to not just our future, but literally humanity's future. It's not, and I don't say that lightly. That's huge. Like the United States, Canada, Australia, where our blue collar success group has our clientele. There's never been a better time, because you can't have any of the other things. You can't have tech. You can't have crypto mines. You can't have any of that without trades. And so as apprentices, when we realize, okay, maybe I wasn't, quote, book smart. I was told I was a dumb kid. I was told I couldn't learn. And now I run an education company. And so that's simply not true. Don't believe everything you were told, and go and get your own lessons in the field.
Right, right. Yeah, my texts will sometimes come back and they'll just shake their head and they'll say, when the stuff hits the fan for real, we're in so much trouble because no one knows how to do anything.
Yes, 100%.
And so the guys that get into the trades, guys and gals, please get into the trades.
Yes,
right?
please, please, please.
When they get into the trades and learn how to do things, that can't be offshored.
Right.
You're not competing with.
Absolutely.
You're always going to have work.
You're always going to have work. You can take care of yourself. You can take care of like your community. Like it is truly, and I believe personally that there is a shift, and the fact that you're doing this program right here and the fact we're sitting down having this conversation proves it, because these conversations used to be held about being a doctor, a lawyer, or whatever. And now we're realizing as a society, no, let's focus on what really the backbone of America, in my opinion, is, and that is the trades. We build the infrastructure.
Right. We make it all work.
Yeah, 100%.
There's that poster, American Standards poster.
Yeah.
What does it say? It says...
I can picture it.
The health of the nation. Protecting the health of the nation.
Yeah, the plumber protecting the health of the nation.
And never has that been more true, even with this COVID thing that we just went through.
Absolutely right.
Like, cleanliness was so important.
Absolutely. And I would say that, confidence where we are in life is largely comes from where our confidence levels are. And the challenge is, as an apprentice, you might have a tough lead. You might have somebody that doesn't treat you with the utmost respect. And I would encourage you to hang in there regardless of that. You'll have different leads. You may work for different companies. One of the challenges, there's a lot of companies that don't know how to take care of apprentices. So you might have found yourself, if you're listening to us today and you find yourself on an island and like, my company's not really supporting me, hang in there, because there are companies that will. And it might take you a minute to find those companies, but if your lead man or woman isn't treating you with great respect, hang in there. Everybody doesn't treat everybody with great respect, right. But it doesn't mean you quit or change your course or go to a restaurant or whatever. Not dogging, not trying to say don't be in the restaurant trades or industry, but I am saying be in the blue collar trades. That's where it's at.
Right. That's something that is also lacking in the trades is, once you get your license to be a plumber, electrician, or a roofer, whatever it is, and you get your own truck, automatically people think that now you know how to teach. But there was no teaching.
Right.
There was no teachers go to a 4-year school to learn how to teach.
Absolutely.
And so the leader that you might be working under has never been taught how to teach you.
Correct.
And so that's something that is a big missing gap in the trades.
It is. And that's where I would encourage you to look for your own, like you have your apprenticeship, you have the formal part of the education, but however successful you are as an apprentice is going to be about your absorption, your self-care, your self-education of perceiving what it is, because a lot of times you'll be put with leads that are the best technically, they have the best skill. Mm-hmm. And there's an old adage that I joke about that there's those who can't do teach. Right. And I'm a teacher. And so I get, even though I ran companies and in the trades and for 27 years or whatever, it's like, oh yeah, you can. But that is true when it comes to a lot of leads, to your point, that we're not teaching them how to teach necessarily. We're going, you're really good at your skill. I'm going to put Dennis with you today and teach Dennis. And they're like, okay, right. I had a buddy that took me fly fishing, and he's like, do it like this. And he would throw his line and catch a fish. And I would throw my line and nothing and nothing and nothing. And then I went with another buddy that was a school teacher by trade. And he's like, well, do it like this and then pull this and do. And I literally first cast, I caught a fish. And
Awesome.
it was such a reminder of, okay, so you're going to have different teachers and different styles, but you are your own apprentice and you're going to build your own career here.
For sure. I always try to, like there's the work that we do during the day, but then there's homework.
Yes.
Like at school, there's homework. In school, your buddies that went to college are pulling all-nighters.
Right.
They've got finals. They're studying for pop exams and all this stuff. In the trades, we just kind of go home and drink beer or watch TV or something. And it's like, whoa, wait a second. This is your precious apprenticeship.
Yes.
It's going to be over in 3 or 4 years. You're never going to get it back.
Right.
And so what kind of things would you suggest a person do in their off time after work to accelerate their education?
Absolutely. I love that. And I think it's a discipline when you think about treating this 3-4 year period like the next level. So I didn't go to college, but I was in the military. And so you go to boot camp, and then you go to advanced individual training, and then you go to permanent party. So I would encourage you to think about your advanced individual training is the company's going to give you something. And in a lot of cases, they're going to give you the minimum by law that they have to, just not because they don't want to. It's just the way that the market is. So then when you get home, you need to be your own professor, if you will, and realize we live in the information age. If you want to know about it, you can find out about it. And that's when you start digging in and listening and studying and getting on YouTube and finding different things and getting code books and looking and learning and self-teaching and going back with questions and asking and different. And, realizing when you ask a question of a lead or an owner of a business from a I know better than you type of a perspective, you're going to get one thing. But if you ask from a genuine, help me understand why we're doing it this way. Help me understand, because when I was studying on my own and I saw this or I read this or I watched a video on this going in, this was how. Now we know as an owner, as a lead, like, hey, I've got somebody that I really want to help here and really help form, but you've got to take the responsibility. What you're doing in this period is setting up your career. And it's setting it up way better than I'm a guy, this, Dennis. I used to speak against higher education. I was a guy out there screw higher education, come to the trades. And now I realize there's a path for everybody. Sure. But as you choose this path, when you do get your truck, when you do get on your own, when you do take a crew, whatever trade you're choosing, that's so much different than starting at the bottom again. I got my degree. Now I go back and I start over and I've got all this debt. You're starting leaps and bounds and you're jumping ahead and you're ready to rock and roll. And how fast that next level goes is going to depend on what you studied outside the curriculum.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I recommend guys read the trade journal. Every trade has journals.
Yes.
Right. And those articles I learned because I came from outside of the trade to the plumbing company.
Yeah.
And I read the trade journals that were laying on the table or the coffee table, or they were sometimes in the garbage.
Yeah. Right.
I'd pull those out and I'd read those.
Yes.
And then I'd have smart questions to ask, like, why? What about this? Or what do you think about that? Or I read this.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And, oftentimes those just throw in the garbage. I like to call trade journals like the blue collar textbook.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
Except they're free. They don't cost $255, right?
Exactly.
You always hear about that in college books, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, I think there's gold in there. When I first started, I read a gentleman named Frank Blau, who was one of my mentors. Yep. Read him in Plumbing and Mechanical magazine. Now I'm blessed. I've written a monthly column in Plumbing and Mechanical for, 15 years or something. And awesome. I never imagined being able to share in the trades at that level. And I'm just one of how many columnists, and there's so much technical support in there, and just become an information junkie in your apprenticeship to learn everything you can. And remember too, I think one of the things that we struggle with in society as a whole, but we see it with apprentices, is like, I like chocolate ice cream. Well, my wife, the lovely Christy, likes vanilla ice cream. Well, just because I like chocolate doesn't mean I have to make her vanilla bad or negative, or I hate vanilla or vanilla is terrible.
Right.
There's going to be more than one way to do an install. There's going to be more than one way to pass the code test, to get, to get the permit signed. So it's okay. Just find your chocolate or your vanilla, and that's going to be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Very good. What's cool about those articles that you write, like I read the Frank Blau one too, back in the day.
Yeah, way back, yeah.
And at the end of the article, there's contact information, like an email and a phone number. And I called it because I was interested in the article.
Yeah.
And guess who answered the phone? Frank Blau. He answered the phone. Yeah. And I'm talking to Frank Blau, the guy that wrote the article in the magazine. It's like, he was a real guy.
Yeah.
And that's true for you too, right?
Yeah.
Like all those articles, those aren't just written by a robot. Those are real people that wrote those articles.
100%.
If you're at all curious about the content, you can pick up the phone, you can send an email.
Yes.
And the real person will probably call you back.
Exactly.
And talk to you directly.
Yes, definitely. Because we're not doing that stuff for the money. We're doing it to help the trades.
Out of heart.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
Yes, because we're committed to the trades, and we're committed to apprentices continuing to grow.
Totally. Very cool. Well, one thing I think is really cool about the trades and an apprenticeship as well is, while I always like to see two paths, the guy going to college and the guy going in the trades. The guy going in the trades starts getting paid to learn immediately.
Yes.
Versus waiting 4 years to start looking for a job. And then he's got a debt burden oftentimes.
Yes.
Any what would be some advice about a young person getting started in the trades, dealing with their money?
Yeah.
And getting on the right track with their money.
Yeah, I think the important thing to realize is, when you're first getting in, you're going to feel like you're probably worth more than you're being paid, and that may very well be accurate from, especially if you've had a career and you're making a career change or doing something different. But what I would encourage you to remember is that they're going back to kind of the writing your own ticket. If I was in the United States Army, and in the Army they had time and grade promotion. So once you were in something a period of time, then you got promoted. Where outside of some types of union work, most of the time you're going to be rewarded based on performance after your apprenticeship and some different things. And so I had to make the same as everybody else in the Army. And one of the reasons I got out is because I wanted to be paid for performance. So during your time, as you're learning, as you're studying, as you're paying attention, don't go out and get in debt. Don't go out and, you're making a little bit of money, so you go buy the new car, you stretch yourself on your rent, whatever it is. Be financially secure, because you've got more coming. And I know it's not easy. We live in an instant gratification society. So you're going to go against your friends sometimes. You might, everybody's going to the pub this weekend. Maybe you're going to chill out and drink your beer at home, like you're saying. And so it's going to take another level of discipline, and that's going to serve you long term so much better than just going to instant gratification all the time.
Perfect. There's a law of compensation.
Yes.
The law of compensation says something like, the longer you're not compensated well, the greater the back end, or something like that. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
I find that true in the trades. Like a guy that, even like the apprentice, the most expensive apprentice probably doesn't get asked to do the difficult job necessarily,
right?
Because he's too expensive, or the big difficult callback.
Yep.
Where the big learning happens, where you learn everything that was done wrong and how to fix it.
Yes.
Usually the least expensive guy goes on that job because it's a cost to the company.
Yeah. But
that's where the best learning is.
Yes.
And if a person can stay at that level,
right,
they'll get better training, actually.
100%.
Right?
Yes.
Where the guy that demands the top dollar as an apprentice, he's going to get sent home as soon as there's no work.
Yes, absolutely.
So it totally shortcuts your training.
It does. And I think one of the, it's going to sound odd to say, but that one of my beliefs is around embracing the suck. And if it sucks, like, embrace it, because to your point, that's some of the best learning.
Yeah.
And the more it sucks, sometimes the better the learning is. I remember being in trenches and got below the water table and didn't realize it, and having to rent pumps at the last minute and pumping water while we're trying to, fix a live line, and
Sure.
just thinking, is this ever going to end? And I wouldn't trade that stuff for anything. But when we're in it, it's like, oh my gosh, this sucks. Well, we generally, and think about your life, our listeners right now, at this point, wherever you are, you look back on your own life and you realize sometimes you go, yeah, that sucked, but man, that was good for me.
Oh, yeah.
What if we can learn to embrace it while it's actually sucking? That would really set us free mentally, wouldn't it?
Embrace the suck.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, man.
Very cool. Well, I can't help but notice this book here.
Yes.
Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so that's my latest book, Blue Collar Success Laws.
Okay.
I wrote this book for our industry because I feel that we're at a time in life and collective society agreements around success that are broken, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And I believe there's a lot of just chasing money and chasing things to chase things, and I wanted to bring it back, and I've got 7 laws that I teach in the book that I share some of my own journey, some of our client journeys, successful clients such as yourself, and different things that I get the opportunity to observe human behavior and coach human behavior on a daily basis. And I wrote that book for the trades to be able to share what I believe are success laws.
Awesome. Besides money.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, money's a part of it, you know, but it's not it. And generally what I realize, for me growing up wearing secondhand clothes, I spent a lot of my life thinking that money or success from that perspective was going to solve everything. Now, don't get me wrong. I would much rather take life's challenges with a few bucks in my pocket than without it.
Sure.
But I believed in a model that as soon as I had those bucks in my pocket, everything was going to be fine. And that's simply not the case. We're having the human experience. And right now, many of you think as soon as you get out of this damned apprenticeship, everything's going to be fine. And you're going to get your truck and you're going to have a whole nother set of things to embrace the suck on and learn and go. And then you keep on going and keep going. And then you're a service manager and you're going, oh my God, if I could just go back to being an apprentice and make the same amount of money.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. It's the same thing in business, right? As we build this business, it's like, you don't get free necessarily. You keep getting new, bigger, complex issues to solve.
Right. Absolutely.
Keeps you wide awake.
It does.
By the way.
It does. And if you commit to being a lifelong learner, then what a great opportunity. And I think as we get to live in the human experience, a big part of it is self-expression. And as apprentices, as you go into being leads, as you embrace what your own success laws may be, I think that it's important to remember that you're here for self-expression. And when you get to do that job as a tradesperson and put your own stamp on it and then drive the family by and go, that house, I did that in that house.
Totally.
Like, it's just amazing. It's what we're here for.
Yeah, very cool. I like to say that owning a business is like a self-improvement project, except you're on the front stage.
Yeah, right.
Right in front of everybody.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. Kenny, thank you so much for stopping by our shop.
Dennis, it's an absolute pleasure. Always great to be here. And thanks for having me on the show too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very cool. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, man. Awesome.